Welcome back, folks, to another episode of It's About Payroll. And before we get into anything, what is good, Walt? How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm good. It always feels like it's been a long time.
I
Mm,
was just gonna
right?
get into that. It has been because we had so many episodes, right? And we just took
Yeah,
off. We still posted, but we were
yeah.
off from recording for a while.
But we were doing so
So
much recording with so
yeah,
many guests, like back to back, and
yo,
so it's been exciting. It just I kind of just missed this
yes,
time of recording. I was
yes,
like, man, I haven't been doing this in a minute. So,
yo,
and other than
same
that,
here, man.
everything's good, man. How about you?
Yeah, man. No, same. Just uh, a lot going on. Like I'm really excited. I wanted to talk a little bit about PSN.
Yeah,
I think the last live recording we did, what not live, but the last recording that we did was with
yeah,
Jody, and we announced that we're gonna lead Payroll Support Network in the US,
mhm,
and we're super honored and excited about that. The group has grown. If you don't know about it, there's a group page on LinkedIn, Payroll
yeah,
Support Network US, and there's a dash UK. You can join both, one, whatever you like. And
mhm,
basically it's really it's a free, always free. Like, we the way we did it on the show is like we kind of made it seem like it was an announcement on the fly right there. But
oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? And I hate, sorry, Jody, I don't mean to bust take the secret away, but Jody really vetted us out for months
Yeah, she
before
did.
she was like, all right, let's do it. Cause she really wanted to see if we were gonna align with the values that they built in the UK.
Yeah, yeah.
One of them being always free for members, right? Whatever they
Mhm.
do is free. And she just found a group, like a really good space where folks felt comfortable. We don't record, right? We will not be recording any of the meetings that we do. We're going to do a first event next Friday, 10/3. Look out for the invite. It's on the group page. And we talk a little bit about the impact of OT, the OBB on the OT, and go
Mhm.
over that calculation and stuff and make sure we're all aligned. Because I think that's whether you're new to the game or a veteran, you got to be like, wait a minute, what now? And make sure that
Yeah,
you can tell your system and start aligning. So, anywho, one of the values that they built in the UK was that everything's free, everything's safe. There's no recordings, things like that. So she really wanted to make sure that we would are comfortable aligning to those values, and we were, it was like a natural extension for us to kind of keep building what we're doing for the payroll community and things like that.
mhm.
So, man, yeah, I'm just super excited about that. We're really close to finishing our book. And, again, this book is basically a recruiting tool for payroll pros, for new folks to the payroll industry. If you know somebody
Mhm.
looking to pivot, which is interesting because I've been talking to a few people in the past few months that are looking to pivot into payroll or back into payroll. New young folks, right, that are looking. I've been talking to young folks as well that are looking to
Mhm.
find their career path. You know what I mean? What are
Mhm.
they doing? And this book will be a tool for payroll pros to say, "Oh, you're interested in payroll? Here, read this book. If you like it, come back to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Help it." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, man.
And the app, man, well, we're really close to bringing the app to market. I built
Yeah.
right. We set up the LinkedIn page for it. It's called PayQuest, and it's gonna just basically help payroll pros get organized around exception payments.
Yeah.
More to come with that.
It's
So
gonna yeah, it's gonna
right
or
there.
it's gonna provide organization, workflows, all those different things that go into it. And I'm super excited because it's been a kind of labor of love and there's been some
Oh,
frustration in there,
yeah, for
with
sure.
things and we just been, you know, really, really plugging away on those things behind the scenes. And we're
Yep.
excited to share
Yep.
with the community and put it out there for Hero Pros to use to test and like give their input, because it's about helping people, right? And
Yep.
that's what it's about. And so that's what we wanna do, man. So yeah. Did you hear about the M&T situation that happened
I
recently?
did. I feel like you told me about it. What are the
I know.
details? Yeah.
So they experienced a widespread technology issue on Friday the 19th, which happened to be a lot of people's check dates, right, on that day. So it impacted their online and mobile platforms, and they resolved it like by Friday evening.
Oh, wow.
But
Yes.
during the time, customers were reporting that they didn't see their direct deposits, and that there was a spike in outages during that day. So it was with their technology that the error occurred. So I put that on here because I wanted to ask you a question before our guest comes on.
Mhm.
Like, even though we're making all these strides with technology, do you foresee that these kind of things are going to continue to happen?
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
don't think, I don't think any technology is glitch proof, error proof.
Mm,
And especially as we move now in this really fast pace, try to catch up with AI type of thing.
mm.
Um, companies there's always going to be different levels of movers and shakers with AI. Some are going fast, some are going slow. We're
So
going to experience stuff.
let me ask you another question then.
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, you know how some of these payment systems, they allow you to transfer funds like within minutes
Yeah.
between
Mhm.
whatever
Yep.
different
Like Cash
platforms?
App and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Do you think that that will become the new thing instead of direct deposit? Like that banks will start doing more of that?
I think they have to. I think it's just a matter of figuring out how we as payroll pro like how does payroll take advantage of it,
Yeah.
right? Because we still or we as in vendors, the vendors we use still operate on NACHA rules, which are
Mhm.
the federal direct deposit rules. And um, their rules are still based on like that kind of 48-hour, 72-hour direct deposit guarantee. And they do
Yeah.
have same day, right? NACHA does have same day, but you have to submit your file by a certain time to get it, you know, processed that same day.
Okay.
So it's with limitations.
Gotcha.
I think that's the way it should go, but it's
Mhm.
how do we like think about it, like how the
Yeah.
hell do you move that fast? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Okay.
I think what the earned wage access is giving that flexibility. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Agree. It's giving that flexibility, but do you think it's gonna I think it may take some time for us to get there before we just like every bank starts to switch to that type of setup or system. And if it does, I think it's gonna be very, very gradual,
Yeah.
right? Like there may be a few banks that do it and then the other banks start to do it. And look, because I think another factor that goes into that is the fact that, you know, companies need to make sure that they have the necessary cash,
That's a
right?
great point.
Right?
That's such
Because
a great point.
and then the bank goes to try to transfer that because you know how my checking and savings works.
That's right. And the same way with businesses is how, they literally move. I have to request funds to be moved
Yeah.
to process
See?
payroll.
Yeah. See, and that
And
might be the thing, right?
yeah, and that's actually how it's recommended to operate. Like if you look up best practices for payroll banking, I don't know how
Mhm.
it look it up, but I know like that's the recommended best practice to not keep money in the payroll account, right?
Mhm.
It's move it when you know it's coming out.
Mhm.
So you bring up a really great point because it's like companies are not gonna. It's cash flow, right? That
Yep.
impacts cash flow. Shoot, with that being said, is like can they ever really get to that point? And maybe earned wage access is really the only solution
We'll see.
because if you think about it, earned wage access, they're really putting their money on the line. Like if I don't know because if you don't use it in your company, the way it works is an employee can pull from it, but it's based on the prior day's hours, right? Provided they're
Yep.
closed. And now time cards got to be on point. So
Mhm.
the next day it sees how many hours you worked yesterday.
Mhm.
It has a demographic file of your pay rate, sees your hours, and it calculates your gross and says, all right, whatever percentage your company dictates you can take, it makes it available to you.
So
They're lending money, really. And that's why some states think it's a lending thing and they get crazy.
So that we can go down the
Oh my
rabbit hole
gosh.
there
Yeah, of course.
with that because I know you mentioned that the time card has to be correct,
That's right.
but what if it's not?
That's a whole
And
nother.
the person drafts against that, and then they're gonna make a, withdrawal from that.
Yep.
Uh,
Hey, Kira.
Hi there.
Oh, I love your t-shirt. We were just going on about earned wage access, but let's count you in. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Payroll isn't just local, it's global discipline. And joining us today is a true powerhouse in the industry, Kira Rubiano. With more than 17 years of experience, Kira has successfully led complex payroll operations across Europe, Latin America, Africa, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. She's not only a global payroll subject matter expert, but also a mentor, a community leader, and a catalyst for innovation and payroll practices worldwide. Currently, with Payroll Minds, Kira combines her passion for international business with her dedication to mentorship, shaping the next generation of global payroll professionals and raising the bar for the entire field. Thank you, Kira, for joining us. How are you doing?
Oh, that was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
I am flattered beyond belief, and thank you so much for having me back.
That's right.
It's awesome to be back. Things have changed since we last spoke, but I'm so excited to hopefully bring the same energy and even more zest and passion for payroll in the community than I've ever had. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You
Absolutely.
guys are truly pillars as well,
Thank
and you've created a wonderful sense of community and support. And for someone like me who has been going through a difficult time over the past few months, it's been instrumental in getting me to a much better place. So thank you for that. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you.
it's
thank
our
you.
honor.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep. Nice to have you back.
yeah.
I love the shirt. So
Oh,
what's been going on over these past few months? Oh, wow.
Yes. So actually, today's a really, really special day, ironically, and I'm glad that you're here because after this afternoon, I will officially be cancer free.
Oh my
so
Yeah.
oh
gosh.
my god.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's a very special day. And today's my last day of radiation treatment.
Congratulations.
And after that, I will begin life in remission. So, really,
Wow.
really excited for that. So, I had
Wow.
to represent.
That's right.
Today.
Oh,
I'm wearing pink proud for
Yes.
sure. Life definitely threw a monkey wrench my way. This summer, I was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer
Oh
in
my
June
gosh.
of this summer and have been going through the process of, emotional, physical, and mental healing as I've been fighting breast cancer. I had a double mastectomy
Oh my.
uh, earlier this summer, got reconstructed, and have also been going through radiation therapy. Luckily, I did not have to go through chemotherapy because of how early I detected my cancer. I self detected
Wow.
my cancer. And so because of that, I've been able to, bypass that part of treatment. And as of this afternoon, at about 2 p.m. Central Standard, I will walk out of the hospital,
Amazing.
hopefully not coming back. That's the hope, not coming back
That's
for
right.
for that. So I'm really, really excited and have been really excited to turn challenge into advocacy. It's a newfound passion that I have, and I've chosen to be very open about my journey and what I've experienced and how cancer has affected me and how it's also given me a new fight for life and a new zest for life and really serving with purpose.
okay.
Uh, and I've opened up my story to others in an effort to help as
Amazing.
well because it was me hearing someone's story that led me to take action and check myself on a regular
Wow.
basis, and because of that I found my cancer and it was at an early stage, so stage
Oh
1.
my God.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
That's
So
an amazing story, and I
Yeah,
want
thank you for sharing.
thank you for sharing. Thank you for trusting us with coming on and just being a part of the sharing our with our community, and it's a really great honor for us.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And what's really wonderful is October is breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to be going into October with as a survivor and being able to share my voice. And so you're going to hear a lot from me and the LinkedIn community, just advocating for early detection, education, also not being afraid to say that you have it and that you're going through something. One thing that I truly believe in, people would ask me throughout the summer, how are you doing? Like just, in conversation, how are you doing, Kira? And I would say, I'm not fine.
Wow,
I'm not fine. And I learned to say it's okay to say I'm not
that's right.
fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And far too often, especially in our industry and in our community, people can be going through so many things, not to mention the pressure of working in payroll, and they just say, "Oh, everything's good,
Yep.
everything's."
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
okay
fine.
to say
Yep.
it's not.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
It's okay.
Yep.
You need the support. You need to be able to say it, and you are human.
Yep.
And not everything is perfect every single day, and that's okay.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
I've said no. I'm not okay.
No doubt.
And here's why. But I will be, I'll get
Yeah.
there. I'll get there. And I'm so glad I'm getting there.
Well, we commend you for helping
Yeah.
people and just putting that out. I've seen the post on LinkedIn, and have you gotten any like people reaching out to you in the DMs and stuff like that?
Yes, you would be amazed at how many people come forward, not only to share words of support, but also words of survival. There are so many in the community who have also fought what I have fought or are fighting what I am fighting. And all
Wow.
too often, they are some not everyone's comfortable being open
That's right.
and sharing it in the public. I
Yeah.
respect that and I don't expect everyone to be like me. But I also understand the power of connecting with those that may be going through something similar. And so I want to make myself available to anyone in the payroll community that if they are going through cancer or someone they love is going through cancer and they just need someone to talk to, I would love to be that help and support because I've been able to connect with others and it
Yeah.
helps so much that there's people out there who know what you're going through or who just want to say, you know what? I know there's not much I can do, but I'm thinking of you, or I'm praying for you, or I have you in my thoughts. And so many people came to me to just give me those kind words of support,
It's
and I
amazing.
appreciate it immensely, including yourselves. And it's it helps. It really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. To know that you got folks just thinking about you for no other reason, just to be like, "Oh, she's all right," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's such a blessing that you're doing what you're doing because, I still hear stories from loved ones and, people in my personal life about working at places that don't give them that safe space to just be themselves or express what's going on with them. And, recently I think about a story that someone shared with me with whose mother is going through something similar to what you've gone through. And they're not allowing her to take PTO basically to be there for her loved one. And so, you know, in situations like that, what advice could we give to someone who's experiencing that, in your opinion?
Crazy.
Yeah. So I've been very fortunate and I'm very grateful for Payroll Minds in terms of how they have supported me. And I think that comes down to ultimately the values of your leadership team, right? And or your manager or just the culture of the company. Putting people first is so important. And I told, my boss Bart this. I said the care that you've showed me and the support makes me want to work harder.
Hmm.
And like I have a newfound purpose. Like I want to give back because of how much love and support you've shown me. And I think if companies take a minute to realize that in those moments, if you show care, those individuals will appreciate it so much. It
Yep.
creates a sense of loyalty as well and a sense of community. if we just share that we care in a human way. And what I would say is, and I'm gonna, maybe this is controversial, but if you want to be with your loved one, be with your loved one,
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
because you're not going to get that time back,
That's
Yeah,
right.
and you're going to regret it, and life's too short. And for anyone who's going through a situation that is threatens that, right? Threatens your life. You want to enjoy every minute. And so take that time off.
yeah,
Yep.
And if it puts you at risk, like it, I would say it is worth it,
yeah,
because you never know when you're going to get those moments again. And
That's
you
right.
never
yeah,
want to look, you never want to look back and regret it. For what?
yeah,
For what? But I do hope that the leaders out there and companies out there understand the value of showing compassion and empathy, because at the end of the day, we're all human. And that when we do that, that's going to return itself tenfold.
Yep.
yeah. Thank you.
So there's something that we kind of showed it already for you, and we were just inspired to do here, of course. And I love the brand. I had caught it, you wearing a T-shirt on a meeting, and we went ahead and got done. You know, mind body payroll, right? And how like appropriate for it to be your brand, but then to become your journey. And so something we would like to offer for you, especially with the timing of October and Breast Cancer Month, is to put one of these T-shirts on sale and or put the proceeds to whatever charity you pick. We'd love to collaborate with you on the design, and like we have the platform, we have the mechanisms, and why not? Right? Like let's whatever for whatever it's worth. If folks want to support and can contribute, and they'll get an awesome T-shirt designed by you, like it would be amazing for us to be able to help in that. Like that's we just felt like wow, the timing is perfect. Let's see if she's willing, and we'll, it's up to you.
I'm speechless. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That means so much to me. It
Yep.
really does.
Yep. We want to support you for sure.
Yeah,
You're a trusted colleague. So yeah,
yep.
we got you. And for whatever it could do to help out somebody and the causes, we're down for that. So
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I
yeah,
mean, it means a lot, and definitely there are organizations out there that do amazing work, and to be able to give back to the community is so important. And it's just, yeah, I really, really, really appreciate it.
absolutely.
The kindness, just the willingness, just the creativity.
Well, it's
Thank
yours,
you.
your creativity. We just ran with it. We were like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
but the
dope.
fact that you just ran with it is just incredible. Like the
Oh yeah,
idea, and I've seen your merch space, and I love it. So thank you so much, and
absolutely.
definitely looking forward to partnering with you right in time for October.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. Yep,
yeah.
yeah, we'll represent.
for
I was
sure.
debating whether to wear it today, but because today was such a special day for me,
No, you got
I
the perfect
wanted,
one
I
on.
needed, I needed
That's right.
to kind
Yep.
of really stand out with my pink.
Yes, yes,
So that's
love it.
good. Yeah.
So, but
So, switching gears a little bit, what's next? What's on the horizon for you and Payroll Minds and the US? Like, what is going on?
yeah, it's really exciting. Even though the summer has been challenging, I did take some personal time after like surgery to recover, but I've been back for a few months now, and just going at it, in the sense of, we know the industry is looking for help, and we have been speaking to a lot of organizations who are undergoing change or are looking to undergo change, and it's a really exciting time.
Yep.
And I haven't let the foot off the gas, to be
Wow.
honest with you. If anything, I'm pushing a little bit harder. My team is growing. I've been
Nice.
adding an employee, at least probably one a month at this point, which is
Wow.
great. Yeah, I started with zero. Now I have 8, and just,
Wow.
yeah, now I have
Holy moly.
8, and you'd be amazed. One thing that I've noticed is there's so many payroll professionals who are probably, I would say, manager and above,
Hmm.
who are looking to get into the consulting space. Like I have
Absolutely.
had, for my one opening, like the role that I have had, I've had 600 applicants,
Heck yeah.
and people just saying like, I really want to try this out. I want to help organizations. And so it's exciting to see that there's so many people out there. I didn't realize there were so many global payroll professionals out there.
That's right.
To be honest with
Yeah.
you, I was like, wow, there's a lot,
There's a
and
lot.
they all
Yeah.
have, and there's so many with like amazing experience.
Mhm.
Not all of them are very active on LinkedIn, which is I think why we don't see them
Yep.
often,
Yep.
Mhm.
right? There's only like a handful. So I want to
Hmm.
encourage folks in our space, whether it's global or not global, whatever it is, be more active, be more visible, because
Yes.
this
Mhm.
is your community.
Yep.
And I only realize that when I have these applicants and I'm suddenly like, oh, wow, I've never heard of this person. Or why do I not have so many connections with that? Because I feel like
Hmm.
I'm connected to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really wonderful. Payroll Minds is growing. We're helping more and more clients in different
Awesome.
ways. We're very flexible in terms of what kind of support a company needs. We're always willing to be flexible and bend and really help them in the way that they need it. So things are looking good. I really
Love it.
feel like I'm in the right place,
Awesome.
right? I'm definitely in the right place.
I've actually been hearing your name a lot also, like through other
Yep.
folks that I'm talking to Kira Rubiano today. And I was like, oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, yep, nope, we've had her on the show already. She'll be back on. Oh, really? Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
actually Jody just told us yesterday, she's like, oh, I'm talking to Kira later. I was like, we're recording with her tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh. And I was like,
Yeah.
can you keep secret? She was like, nope. And I was like, oh well, not telling you then, because I was gonna tell the listeners.
Yeah, I listened to her podcast with you,
Yes.
and then that made me go, "Why don't I know Jody?" So then I
She's
reached out
awesome.
to her. Yeah, she's a fun time.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Uh,
Yeah.
goodness.
I
She,
reached out to her and I'm like, "You and I should just connect."
Yep.
And so we talked
Mhm.
at length yesterday about what you guys are doing in partnership with her, as
Yep.
well as, she was kind of astonished at, how everyone's like suddenly reaching out. And I'm like, it's because, what you're doing,
Mhm.
there's a need for it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the community saying we need
We
this,
need
right?
it.
We have a
Yes.
lot of associations and opportunities for education, but there's not a lot of just downright kind of community, right? If we think about what community means, we used to get community in, our neighborhoods, at church,
Mhm.
bowling leagues.
Yep.
Mhm.
And now we're looking for community at work, but that's harder to find because of
Yes.
remote and hybrid
Yes.
and all these changes. And so now it's like, where do we get that sense of community? And it's in moments like this, right? In
Yeah.
moments of interaction and discussion
Mhm.
and human connection. And
Yeah.
I think that is important. So I love what you guys are doing with her.
Thank
I
you.
love the panda and the duck
Yes.
too.
Kayla. Yeah.
Well, I'm Presta. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, gosh, Payla has gotten the most engagement that we've
Yeah.
ever had on LinkedIn. We're
Yeah.
like, really? But then we thought about it, right? And it's just what you said. It's the community. It's the lightheartedness of it. It's the, like take a kind of a step away from all the, this is the rule and you got to do it like this and da da da. Don't, and it's just having fun
Yeah.
and that's been really great. And, you know, um, so and it made me think of a bunch of things, but one of them being, and if Jody hasn't asked you already, would you be willing to come and do like a quick 30 minutes with us on the support network, right? Okay, cool.
Yep.
So
She
we'll
she
schedule that.
mentioned it.
Okay. I
Okay.
figured she
Mhm.
would because, and we were just talking about that before you got on, because this is the first time we've recorded since we recorded with Jody. We had so
Mhm.
many shows in the library that we were just able to take off for a few weeks. And we just kept putting the shows out. But so it was the first time we came back on to talk about it, and we were like so excited. And you know, the way we made it seem on the show was like it was just spur of the moment. But Jody really vetted us out for months
Mhm.
before she agreed
Mhm.
to the collaboration because she really wanted to make sure that we connected on the values and we agreed with the values and definitely did and do. And one of those things is just like to create that community to be able to offer that safe space for folks to talk and
Mhm.
share. So that would be awesome. Let's, we'll definitely circle back and plan that. And it's been incredible since we launched the page on Payroll Support Network US. I mean, we just get more and more people joining every day. Folks are already helping each other on there, and that's great.
Mhm.
Um, and just like you said, like, yeah, there are formal paid organizations, but since that, we've connected with folks that I talked to a young lady who has been in payroll for like 6 years, but never had anyone to talk to about payroll.
Mhm.
Her bosses never did payroll. She would report to either a CFO or, an HR person, but those folks had never done payroll so that
Yeah.
she couldn't like talk and like bounce things off of and what do I do and what do you think and la la la. And she's like, "Thank you so much, Brian." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been 20 plus years." She's like, "Oh my God, you must know everything." And I was like, "No, that is not the case." And that's what makes it fun, right? Because
Mhm.
you will never know everything about payroll.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's what the value of the community is because folks do different things.
Mhm.
And there's something in payroll that I may never touch because of just the companies that I'm with and the folks that I help. So that's the why we need it and it's
Yeah.
so important, right? Like even me and Walt, like Walt, we'll talk and I'm like, oh damn, Walt, you did that before? Oh my God. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I think I definitely want to jump on that same sentiment, Brian, because I feel like those type of communities don't want anything back from the people. It's just about being a help and being a support. And there's no hidden agendas. Not saying that any other companies have hidden agendas, but like there's nothing that we want to take from them. We just want to pour into other people. And I think that's what the payroll community needs, but people in general just need to be poured into around these days
We
because
need
there's so much
fellowship.
going on. Yes. There's so many things going on. And I think that everybody, can benefit from these type of things, whether it's just, connecting with someone on there about your payroll and how it's structured, or somebody reaching out to give you a word of encouragement and just tell you that, hey, you're awesome. I saw this, I read that, and
Yep.
you're just amazing. Right. And I think you can find anything that you need in this community, in my opinion.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And it's having like that psychological safety too,
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
like creating a safe space
Yep.
to air out your, challenges or frustrations, or just to say like, hey, has anyone gone through anything like this? I'd love to just connect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, what you guys are doing with Jody is really wonderful. I think it's very much needed.
Mhm.
Any way I can support, I am here for it
Thank you.
in any way. And, I think we just need to encourage people to feel comfortable opening up
Mhm.
Yeah.
too. Because
Yeah.
the challenge with these communities sometimes also is that you need active participants. So
Hmm.
if you've chosen to be a part of it, be a part of it.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's true because like at first I was getting we were getting all the members and I was like, all right, cool. What do we want? What do we this? And then it's like crickets and I'm like, okay, no, not talking yet. Okay. And then little by little, and then I put the event out and now folks are RSVPing and I see
Hmm.
I was like, okay, so they come into the event. They want to move off of this platform and engage. And I was like, that's great. And yeah, and just like to reiterate, nothing gets recorded. Nothing gets shared. This is a
Hmm.
closed community. As long as you're a member, it's always free, and it'll be safe space. Because we noticed that when we started the show, we were like, oh, there's going to be a ton of payroll people to come on the show, but one, sometimes they're not allowed, and two, they get scared because they
Hmm.
just don't want to be targeted by their companies and say the wrong thing or feel. And so we're like, okay, no problem. We totally get it, and this is not that, right? And that's something that I did post
Yeah.
on
Hmm.
group is like, this is not the podcast, right? That's separate. You want business, go hit us up there. This is a safe place. I have a young man that just started doing sales and he jumped on and eager, and I shut him down really quick because I was like, hey, this is
Yeah.
not the sales space.
Yeah.
Although I do welcome recruiters, right? Because if folks want payroll folk, hey, come and post, no
Hmm.
problem, because we need jobs. You know what I mean? There's folks that need jobs, so it
Yeah.
should be a space for that. But yeah, one thing I did want to ask because you had mentioned about the discovering all the global payroll managers and how many folks want to move to consulting. What advice would you give that payroll person that's been doing the transactional process all this time and is now like, I would love to consult? How do they make that leap?
Yeah, and I think I'll preface this by saying there's a lot of really amazing payroll professionals who aren't necessarily a great consultants.
Okay.
Okay. Just because if you have all those wonderful years behind you, it doesn't necessarily mean that consulting is right for you because
Okay.
consulting is a different mindset,
Okay.
very much a strategic way of thinking rather than kind of operational and tactical. So you could be amazing at running payroll,
Right.
but you might not have kind of awareness of all the different things that can help an organization. So you
Mhm.
need to really broaden your reach in terms of knowing what types of, vendors are out there, solutions are out there. Have you had experience working in multi-systems? Have you implemented any solution or project internally, right? Were you able to lead it? So having that experience behind you is really, really important, and also having a very open mindset. Because I've talked to some payroll professionals who have interviewed, and they're like, "This is the way. This is how I would tell the client to do it." And I'm like, "That's like,
Yeah.
nah, you can't do that. That is not a consultant
It's rigid.
mindset,
Right.
right? You might have been doing that at your organizations, and it worked for you,
Hmm.
wonderful." But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to listen, you have to understand, and you have to also present different types of solutions, right? And think
Hmm.
creatively. So my recommendation really is really think about if you are ready to make that leap. Like, have you implemented a change before? Have you led change management? Have you had the experience to work across different systems and maybe geographies? Not always, but it's
Mhm.
recommended. Have you managed stakeholders? And are you ready to go into a situation where what you think is the right way may not be what is best for that organization?
Right. Yep.
And how are you going to navigate that?
Yep.
So I'm flattered to see that there's so many wonderful professionals that are interested, but I also encourage them to think like, is this really what they want and are they ready for it, or are they just doing it because they just desperately want to change?
Right.
Because
Mhm.
that's not great. Like, you never want to set yourself up for failure
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Perfect.
Appreciate that.
I equate that to in sales, right? I often see, so I've supported retail a few times, as I support retail now, and you often see a great sales person at the store level get elevated to like a regional manager or
Yeah.
operations man, and they're not successful. And then folks are like, "Well, why?" And I'm like, I can tell. I'm a student of business as well, so I'm always like, "That's easy. They're a great salesperson. They're not a great manager."
Yep.
And it doesn't always transition into they're gonna be a great manager or a
So,
leader.
can I ask you both the question then? In those situations where that type of scenario occurs, right? Where someone may not have, at this point, had the aptitude to be that manager or the consultant, how would you encourage them to grow in their career? Was it continuing to get more knowledge? What is it? Because I know there's some people that I'm connected with in payroll, and they feel like they're stuck, right? They're at this payroll manager level, and they haven't really gone anywhere in a few years, and so they're just feeling like, hey, I want to go, to another level. What suggestions would you give them?
Yeah.
Hero.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Stretch assignments, don't underestimate the value of stretch assignments within an organization. I know it's hard, but sometimes volunteering yourself to lead an initiative that maybe is a little bit outside of your realm and within an organization, or just say, look, I'm really interested in doing ABCD. How can I get involved? That definitely helps kind of bridge that gap. Sometimes taking a risk and stepping outside of your comfort zone. What I mean by that is if you feel that in your current organization you've plateaued, maybe it's time to look elsewhere,
Yep.
because that's usually when those leaps happen. I also think, don't underestimate the value of like education. Like LinkedIn Learning has a lot of really wonderful courses to give you perspective. There's some amazing books I've read. One of my favorite authors is Simon Sinek
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
on leadership. I've been listening to his podcast every single drive on my way to radiation therapy. So
Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
I've gotten like 20 hours worth at least of a bit of optimism, it's called. And just hearing people's perspectives on leadership, reading, taking courses, talking to other leaders is really going to help shape how you take on leadership. But yeah, you're gonna have to either, if you want to stay within, take those stretch assignments, look for more responsibility, or start looking elsewhere and see if you could take a jump. Because that's when usually those big changes happen. At least in my career, any time that I have moved to a new organization, I've taken on a new role that's above what I was doing.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
I've been able to
Yeah.
progress that way. But it's a lot about selling yourself too,
Mm,
right? You
mhm,
you
Yes.
you have to have a self-starter attitude,
Yes.
right?
mhm.
You can't come in and just wait for things to happen. Like, oh,
That's right. Got to make it happen.
what I do
Yep.
now? You have to get in there. You got to dig. You're like, I can do this. Okay, I know I'm really good at this. How can I bring value to the organization by doing that?
Mhm,
Like, show yourself. Be visible is the key.
gotcha. Okay.
I'd add a little bit to it. You made me think of there's no growth in comfort. So when
Mhm.
you're comfortable somewhere and you've been and they're like, oh, but you want growth, you got to do what Kira said. You got to stretch yourself. You got to make yourself uncomfortable. You got to reach outside your bounds.
Mhm.
And then I think, like you said with leadership, you really got to understand what it is, right? And can you be a leader? And we just had somebody on the show, William Davis, I believe was his name,
Yep.
and we were
Yep.
talking about leadership. He wrote some books about leadership and is and had a great leadership career and is retired and is now giving back and talking about it and teaching about it. And he's like, there's leaders without being a leader, right? And you may not have people that report to you, but can you be a leader in that situation where you're not getting the glory, right? Can you do that? For me,
Mhm.
I understood one of the things that helped me understand the difference between a leader and a manager, right, is a quote that I read recently that said, "Managers do things right. Leaders do the right thing." That, like, you gotta wrap your head around those concepts, and like you said, listen to Simon Sinek, listen to these folks who
Mhm.
really teach about the subjects. Because if you can't get with it, I don't know if you'll be successful in that manner, right? And
Yeah.
then the consulting piece as well, like Walt knows since we met, I've always like, look, you got to operate like you're a consultant for a
Yep.
company. The only, you can't get mad that they're not listening to you. You have to give your advice. Oh, we're not going to do that? No problem. Hey, how do we adjust? What is it that we do want to do? What are our guardrails, right? How do we operate in this? And it's like Max says, having that business acumen to understand that maybe what you think is right is not right for this organization, right? It's
Mhm.
just it's just not going to be. And there's a risk tolerance, right? I was at a startup and there was a huge risk tolerance way outside of any payroll person's comfort zone. But you got to be able to adapt and roll with it and just kind of Jody actually says she keeps a risk ledger, right? And that's hey, if that's what you got to do, that's what to stay like okay, I know we're taking risk, but I need to make sure we have it tracked.
Mhm.
And there's somewhere that we know so that when they come back to me like, hey, what are we taking risk about again? Because the leaders, the ones who are running a million miles a minute, they're not thinking about the risk all the time. And
Yep.
that's our job to kind of say, hey, okay, wait, let me just I know we're not operating that way, but I'm gonna keep the risk ledger for when they circle back to me. So you gotta be able to be that flexible and and that's something that I do want to continue to talk about to payroll folks is you cannot be rigid like that,
Mhm.
right? You cannot be, this is the only way. Yeah, that may be the law and that may be the compliance, but you got to understand your leaders are willing to take a risk.
Yeah, and you can present the risk, but you can also present option,
Yep.
right? Like, okay,
Yep.
if we do it this way, this is the risk. If we do it this
Yes.
way, this is the risk.
Yes.
And be able to be, and I've had many discussions with my team and I've managed lots of different teams throughout my career. Is sometimes I have to have the discussion with a manager of mine that says, like, I need you to be a little more flexible.
Yep.
Like, flex new muscles. I
Yep.
know it's uncomfortable. Trust me, I am type A to the extreme, slightly OCD as
Mm-hmm.
well. And I understand like the need and desire to be within the box. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we just have to say, okay, I understand, but let me flex a little bit
Okay.
and be a little bit more open-minded. And when it comes to leadership, I also want to say I get asked all the time, what makes a good leader? And there really isn't like a formula. There isn't
Mhm.
a way. Every person's different. The way that I choose to lead is different from the way that you guys choose to lead or
Mhm.
somebody else. We all have a little bit of a different mix of how we approach relationships, how we approach
Yes.
tasks,
Yep.
where we converge on that. I'm a very empathetic leader. I tend to lead a lot with my heart, but I also can be very direct when I need to get things executed. So you adjust and you learn from other leaders. That's the most
Mhm.
important thing. Having
Mm-hmm.
great leaders around you shapes the way that you are, and having bad
Yes.
leaders around you shapes the way you are. And I've
Yes.
had leaders that I will never want to be like them, but they've taught me how I don't want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
you
Yes.
know, so you got to go through both. You
Yep.
got to go through the wonderful ones, and you got to have to go through the ones that are not so wonderful, because that will then help mold you to be your own leader.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
Read Bart's book too, Payroll,
Yes.
the Payroll Mind, because that inspired me recently, and I had just read it, and I was like, why are we more of us not talking about this book? You know what I mean?
You should
And
have him on
he's been on before. He came
again.
out, yeah, nah, definitely, yeah, definitely. I want to read it again all the way
Yeah.
through. I'm doing a little series here where Max's book is up first, and I
Hmm.
think Anita, and I think then Bart. So I'm going to be doing reviews. I'm going to put a spotlight on the authors because we don't have a great spotlight on payroll
Mhm.
authors.
Mhm.
I had posted something a while back about Max's book and Haley's book, and somebody commented, "Oh, I never knew that there was these payroll books," and I was like, "What?" Like you said, Kira, like we
Yeah.
think we're connected to everybody, and everybody knows and they don't.
Yeah. No, they
There's
don't.
Yeah.
still so much opportunity to spread the word, and like you said, not everybody's on LinkedIn, right? And that's one of the goals for the support network is to really help those companies that are 0 to 900, let's say, right? Because they're and maybe even 0 to 500, because and that's the meat and potatoes and the bulk of businesses in the US are
Mhm.
under that 1,000 mark, that under that 500 mark. And those are the payroll pros and payroll folks that are doing payroll because they often wear multiple hats
Mhm.
that struggle with the help, that struggle with the education. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do we get to them and let them know, hey, there's a whole community here that you can tap into to help you get through it. And those are the ones that need to read these books and need to plug into the
Mhm.
networks. Because, we had a salesperson on one time, Chris Rice, is an awesome guy. He said, Brian, those folks don't have time to get on LinkedIn. They're running a business.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. Damn, it's true. So that's where our opportunity is, right? For you, for us, for all of us to kind of just keep helping those folks and stretching, right? And doing more for them because the enterprise level is covered. Everybody's going for the
Mhm.
big enterprise level and the money's there and oh, that's where the money's at. Great, you go get it. But folks are being left behind and ignored because of that. So there's a big opportunity there for us
Mhm.
to help those folks. So yeah.
Awesome.
But look, Kira, we've taken a lot of your time. We appreciate you so much. Is anything you want to leave us with before you go?
Well, one thing I would definitely leave everyone with, and I know this is cliche, but definitely I've learned to stop and smell the roses.
You've
Okay.
said that to me a few times. Yeah.
I know it's so cliche, but it really happens. And so I want to
Mhm.
encourage everyone out there listening to just take a moment out of your day to stop and smell the roses, whether that means stepping outside for a quick walk, taking moment of, silence, whether it's meditating, whether it's going to the gym, whether
Mhm.
it's just like looking up at the sky, whatever you do. I sometimes
Mm,
just look up at the trees and I
No
watch
doubt.
the leaves. Because life's too short to be running nonstop and never stopping for that moment. And then
Yep.
when
yeah.
you only realize that when it's too late, and you never want to live with that kind of regret. And so my commitment to myself is, as I move forward with my new journey and mission, is to continue to take those moments and to stop and smell the roses and make those beautiful memories. And yes, take my job seriously, but not let my profession rule my life, right? I'm
Amen.
gonna not live to work, but work to live.
Amen.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Awesome.
Well, before we go, there's a quote here on this page that has probably been there since we have been rescheduled, but it's still appropriate. Could you read it for us?
Yep. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant.
Amen. I like that. That's dope.
Yeah.
Love
All
that.
right, folks. We love you. Until the next time. Peace.
All right.